What's up, y'all? Making another video here. Today I'm going to be going over my 100 miler race plan. So as of right now, today, which is Tuesday, March 10th, I am 3 days away from my first ever 100-mile race. It's going to be the Viper 100 in Memphis, Tennessee. Specifically, we're going to be at Shelby Farms Park. And with this, I'm shooting for a sub 22-hour time. Cutoff for the race is going to be 41 hours, but I'm trying to do it in 22 hours, so a little bit more of an aggressive pacing strategy. My target finish time is going to be around 5 a.m. on Saturday. So Friday, March 13th, the race starts at 7 a.m., looking to finish about 5 a.m. A little bit about the course format. So there's 3 loops on this course. It's going to be 33.4, 33.5 miles per loop. Essentially just the same loop, going to be repeated 3 times, which makes things really easy for me to remember. A little bit of a positive, a little bit of a negative. On the positive side, there's going to be frequent aid stations. I know what's going to be ahead of me. It's going to be easier to cruise. My crew chief is going to be my brother, PJ. Shout out PJ for coming out to this one. And it's just going to be more predictable. I'm going to know what's where, what turns to take when, and what I need to fuel in between each stop. On the cons, it is the same course. I know exactly the distance that I have ahead of me to get to the next aid station, and that can be a little bit of a mental barrier, as well as there's not really a lot of variation. It's kind of the same course over and over again. So that's one part that I'll kind of need to be on top of. The course and terrain, so it's a mix of paved and dirt trail, and I'm reading my notes here on my laptop. So it's going to be a mix of paved trail and dirt trail. There are, overall, as far as elevation goes, it's a fairly flat race. There's not going to be a lot of elevation that I'm going to have to be worrying about in this race. The main thing, it's just going to be like flat, maybe a little bit wet weather-wise. There's going to be some rain like today through Thursday, I believe, but it's supposed to die down by Friday, which should be good. There's likely going to be some wet spots, but there's going to be a lot of pavement, and then it's kind of packed trail, which would be nice. But overall, a lot of paved sections, dirt sections, and it kind of goes around, again, this Shelby Farms, which is a wildlife kind of center, I think. But there's lakes, woods, kind of open park feel, which should be nice, not in the mountains, which will be good for me. As far as aid stations, super crewable. This one's going to be really nice. So I'll have an aid station at mile 11, mile 21, mile 27, and then again at mile, at the end of the loop, 33.4. So really, I'm never going more than, call it 10 miles without an aid station. And then I'm going to be passing this TDW, I believe it's Tour de Wolf, is going to be the aid station that I passed twice, which would be really nice. And every aid station is car accessible. So I will have my crew chief who's going to be coming to the cars, kind of helping me out, or coming to the aid station in the car, help me out. I'll be able to keep all of my supplies in the trunk of the car. And then I'll, have all my fuel, gear, shoe changes, dry clothes, lighting, etc. Like everything that I need is going to be in the trunk of my car just to make things easy. As far as my pacing strategy, so, the goal is a 22-hour finish. It's also my first 100-mile race. So I've never gone that distance before. The furthest I've ever gone is 67 miles in 11 hours and 55 minutes. And so with this, I definitely cannot come out as hot as I did on that race. And so knowing myself, I need to kind of dial it back and stay controlled and be deliberate about kind of my pacing. Run easy when it's easy, walk when I need to, not kind of get in my head and tell myself that I shouldn't be walking at all during this race. And just kind of protect my legs. I'm starting that today. Like I was supposed to hit legs today in the gym, and I decided not to hit legs and just do some kind of recovery stuff to make sure that my legs are going to be fresh for Friday. And today's Tuesday. And then, I guess, the final loop. So looking at this, the second loop is going to end around 66.8 miles. And that final loop not only is going to be, when I really start setting in fatigue-wise, but it's going to be a PR distance-wise. So everything after that second loop is going to be a distance that I've never gone before, which should be interesting. And, at 220 pounds, by no means am I an ultra runner, so I'm going to need to keep that in mind when it comes to, fueling as well as pacing. So split-wise, again, the start is going to be 7 a.m. and the goal finish is going to be 5 a.m. the next day. Fairly simple. I should finish the first loop around 2 p.m. On Friday, I should finish the second loop around 10 p.m. And then that'll put me right on target to finish the third loop around 5 a.m. So how am I going to do that? Fueling wise, a lot of liquids, a lot of electrolytes, and a lot of food and candy. Overall, I typically eat pretty clean. This one, I will not be eating very clean. So fluids, we just have water. Electrolytes, we're going to be using LMNT, as well as Body Armor, and then carbs. So we will have full sugar Coke. We'll also have Body Armor, so it's full sugar Body Armor. We have that LMT. We have maple syrup, so it's kind of like a quick carb hit. I'll be drinking swigs of maple syrup. I do have PB&Js, Pop-Tarts, Sour Patch Kids, Nerds Clusters, Rice Krispies, bananas, mandarin oranges, dates, and then I also have bone broth if I'm really in need of a lot of sodium. It's like a quick hit. And then on top of that, I have a little salt chews, which should be super helpful. As far as like liquids that I'm going to be taking in, so I'll have I have a Solomon kind of trail vest that I'll have on me, and I'll have two 500 milliliter flasks with me. So I'll have a liter of water with me at all times. And kind of the goal is at the aid stations to drink 2 of those, as well as a Coke, and then kind of have 2 to refill and put in my vest. And one of those is going to have 2 packs of LMNT in it, so I will always have electrolytes on me here, then I'll have water here. When it comes to fuel plan for like leg length, so on long legs, which there's one long leg where you're going 10 miles without any aid stations, I'm going to leave with enough fluids and carbs banked to make sure that I'm hitting my, ideal fluid and carb goal. Really, I guess rough carb goal is maybe 135 grams of carbs per hour, if not a little more. Then sodium, I'm trying to get about 1,000 milligrams of sodium an hour while I'm out running. And then liquids, it's just kind of balancing that out, making sure that I'm getting, anywhere from 20 to 40 ounces of water per stop, and then having, that liter with me while I'm out. Short legs, less important, but still need to be having my fluids. So making sure that I've drank, at least 24 ounces. And then also having those carbs while I'm sitting down, trying to have my biggest meals while I'm sitting down in between aid stations, and then just have, whether it be my Sour Patch Kids or dates or whatever it is that I'm carrying with me, have like easy carbs out with me, and then things like the PB&Js and the Pop-Tarts and whatnot, those I should be eating at the aid stations. And just make sure I'm not falling behind on calories. I'd rather overeat and consume, because I can run on a full stomach, than undereat and underconsume, just knowing if I don't get enough food, that's going to be the thing that makes me bonk the hardest. I am a big sweater, so I'm going to be having a lot of electrolytes, but I also know that I need the fuel. And so just making sure I'm getting enough food is going to be huge for me. So pretty much every stop is going to include a Coke, probably some sort of PB&J, and then some sort of simple carb that I'm carrying with me. Shoes, what am I going to be wearing? So I'll have 4 pairs of shoes, 3 different kind of styles. So I'm going to have 2 pairs of Adidas Evo SLs. These are brand new. I've kind of been breaking them in, and I've been loving them. I'm going to have a Rad UFO as well as a Saucony Exodus Ultra 4. So thought about the Adidas, having 2 pairs just in case one gets like wet or soggy or dead or whatever it may be. Kind of want to read the trail once we get out there. The Rad UFO is just throw it in there. It's good shoe in the rotation. I keep it in my road running rotation. And while this is a trail race, it's not a traditional trail race. It's kind of like running on gravel. So I think those UFOs might be real nice. And then the Exodus Ultra 4, that is my trail shoe. So if this does turn into a pretty gritty trail run with, mud and whatnot, then I know that I have that as a backup. And, I don't want to overcomplicate anything, but I do want options on race day. It's better to have the options than to not have the options. And yeah, kind of like what I said, I'm going to, on the pavement sections, I'll keep with the Adidas Evo SL. On the UFOs, it's a wild card option. We'll see if those even come out. And then the Exodus Ultra 4 is more trail focused and better if the course is going to be wet. Really, the forecast looks really solid. So it's going to be about 72 high, 53 low. Pretty great running weather, I think. There's not going to be any rain. It's going to be partially cloudy. The biggest concern is going to be the rain earlier in the week. But, the course is still going to have some soft dirt, puddles, probably some wet spots. But I'm coming into it prepared for worst case scenario, knowing that it probably is going to be best case scenario. And then, the night temps aren't going to be that bad. With 53 low, I think it should be pretty solid. At night strategy. So what's going to happen at night? I'm going to have a headlamp. That's my night strategy. I guess things don't really change much. At night, you're just going to have a headlamp. So I have 3 headlamps. Going to be rotating those, making sure that they just stay charged. Hand one to my crew chief, swap it on the next one. I ran the BPN overnight ultra marathon, and that I was able to, honestly, for the whole thing, keep 1 headlamp. So I'm not too worried about the headlamps. I bought 2 more of the same version that I had for that, and so I'll essentially just rotate between the 3 of those. But I don't want to just have to rely on one light source. And then, worst comes to worst, I do have my watch, so I can do that too. Clothing. I'm going to be wearing clothes when I do this, as I probably should be. I'll have coat, pants, pretty much cold weather gear if I need it. So I'll have a long sleeve. Ideally, I'll be running, honestly, in this and a short sleeve. And then I have, chafe cream, athletic tape. That's pretty much it outside of just warm weather clothes. I'll ideally be running it in just shorts and a t-shirt. And then when I get cold, I do have like joggers I can put on, or a long sleeve, and then a jacket that can go over that as well. The whole goal is to be in and out of aid stations as fast as possible. I'm setting a 10-minute hard cap on my aid stations. So it's like get in, sit, drink, eat, swap my flasks, get everything set up, deal with any issues that I might be having, whether it be blisters or, need to switch my shoes or underwear or shorts or clothes, whatever it may be. But really just trying to get in and out as fast as possible. And on the mental side, this is going to be the furthest I've ever ran. I'm going to be expecting some lows. I'm going to expect it to suck. From what I hear, that, last little bit from like 1 to 5 a.m. is going to be some of the worst I've ever felt. Referred to as the low point is what our race director called it. I'm excited for it. I mean, I've been in some low points with ultras before, and, ultimately you just got to grind it through. And that's my whole mindset coming into this. If I come into a low point, it's don't panic, keep moving. Like the most important thing is forward momentum. Just keep moving, whether it's walking, crawling, running, whatever it may be, keep going forward, because that's the only thing that's going to get it over with. The whole thought in my mind is the only way out is through, and to get through, you got to keep moving. The goal is, I know I'm not going to feel amazing. I know it's going to hurt. I know it's going to suck. I have to be willing to be okay with it sucking, and I am. Why does this matter? Why do you care? This is my first 100 miler. I'm super stoked. I'm not necessarily a typical ultra runner. I'm a lot better. I'm 220 pounds. That's predominantly muscle. Not necessarily what you are seeing on the ultra courses out there. I'm not the fastest runner. I'm also not the slowest runner. But I am a runner. I'm out there and doing it, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see, what 100 miles does to me, how I can push myself, and where I can kind of take this. If you have any questions about, my fueling, my aid station strategy, or anything that I've talked about in this video, feel free to drop a comment. Let me know. I know this is a lot of talking directly to the camera, and there's not a lot of visuals, so apologies for that. I'll work on getting the visuals a little better. But I'm excited. It's going to be my first ever 100 miler, and I'm excited for you all to do it with me. So I'll be recording the whole 100 miler, post some videos on my TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, and then I'll post a full recap video here on YouTube. That's going to be me out and running. So that's it, and I will see you guys when the run is over.